No, that's so sad.
Hey friends, long time no see, but it is finally time to do another addicted video. I'm so excited. Listen, me reading this series has not taken so long just because I haven't been interested in it. I have wanted to pick up these books so often, but I told myself that I was going to vlog every single one, and I've not really had the chance to vlog. So while I may be a procrastinator, I am not a quitter, and I will vlog each and every one of these, and I can't take it anymore. I'm reading this one. There will be spoilers. This is the third book in a series, so I don't even know how I would give thoughts or opinions without spoiling things. So if you haven't read this, go read it, come back, or if you don't plan to read it, just stay, chill, and I can let you know my thoughts on them. We actually had a snow day today. I thought it would be the perfect day to start Addicted for You, or Addicted for Now. Addicted for Now. It would help if I could get the title right. I'm gonna give spoilery thoughts and opinions coming up. So non-spoilery people, you gotta go read it, come back, and then we can chat. I love that it's dual POV, so we get Lily's point of view and Lo's if he will focus. So I am on chapter 11, which is page 102. I'm loving it. I don't know if you can tell. I need to fix my camera. I feel like I'm so bright, but like, can you even see the tabs? Yeah, kind of.
Bitch, where?
Tabbing a lot. But where I'm at in the book, Lo starts getting these texts from this anonymous person, and they are threatening to reveal Lily's secret and release it to the press, which would be very embarrassing for her family to know, and her family owns Fizzle, the soda company, and so that would be a bad look on the company, and so there's just a lot at stake. They were trying to figure it out for a little bit, and I honestly completely forgot about Aaron, who was the guy in Ricochet who had to go as Lily's date and was just causing a mess. He was the first suspect. Lo went over to his house, but he had deleted all of his texts, so I guess we don't know if he is innocent, guilty, what the deal is there. Lily and Lo also met with Reich, Connor, and Rose to talk about the situation, and they were kind of suspicious of Reich at first, and then a little bit of Connor. I think it's pretty obvious that it's not one of them. The one person that I am suspicious of, but I think it's too obvious, is Sebastian, and I don't know why like Lo didn't think that it was him after he was coming in to tutor Lily and like trying to cause things between Rose and Connor, and just kind of, I don't know, he is suspicious, but I think that's like the obvious choice. One thing that I think is really interesting in this book, so in Ricochet, the previous book, we saw how much Lily was struggling with her addiction with Lo gone, and now we get to see her addiction struggles with Lo here, and I think that's really interesting just to see how much she struggles in both scenarios. But I love Lauren Hale so much. He is so supportive and so sweet, and he is just the perfect person. And he has his own addiction and his own struggles that he has worked through in rehab and is continuing to work through, you know, out back in the real world. He understands how hard it is for Lily, and he never judges her. He's so supportive. I do have work today, which is unfortunate. All the snow melted, so hopefully I will get some time to read tonight. Okay, so I'm currently on page 139, and I have some thoughts. First, I feel so bad for Lily. I feel like she is just trying so hard for her family, for Lo, and things are just constantly working against her, which is so sad. Like when she's working and Rose got Lo to be one of the models for her new line, and that will kind of help Lily when she's around the other male models. And they all show up and Lo wasn't there yet, and Lily was hiding under her desk and just struggling so bad. Like, while it was kind of a funny scene, it was just so heartbreaking at the same time. And I think that's something that Krista and Becca Ritchie do perfectly, is creating these scenes that rip out your heart, that are actually so sad, but providing some humor to it so it's not just a completely depressing book. And then when Lo finally does show up, he convinces Lily to come out from under the desk, and he is just saying super sweet things, and he kisses her, and it's just so sweet. But then I was like screaming at the book when Lily goes to the bathroom and Lo finds her in there, and she is like promising she didn't do anything, and he actually believes her. But for a moment, things just looked so bad that I kind of thought maybe he wouldn't believe her. And I don't know, I root for Lily so hard, and I don't know, I was so thankful that Lo believed her in that moment. And then there was this heartbreaking quote where Lo said, "She won't cheat on me, she'll just cheat on herself." And that made me so sad for Lily. Like, she is trying so hard for everyone around her, and that is so true, that she would not cheat on Lo and hurt him like that, but she's willing to like hurt herself. Lo quit the modeling thing before it even started because he walked in on a conversation that Rose was having with their mom on the phone, and basically her mom was just saying how much of a loser Lo is, and he's an alcoholic and that's bad for the brand, and that every single time they see Rose's like clothing line, they're going to just think of an alcoholic. And Rose was really defending him, and I was so happy and proud that she was doing that, because like, Rose comes off as this like hard exterior, but on the inside she cares so deeply about the people around her. But yeah, their mom truly sucks. And like, there's a part of me that kind of wonders if she is the one behind the text that Lily and Lo are getting, because now Lily's getting texts. And while I don't really think that's true, because she wouldn't want to ruin their own family name, like, nothing's been leaked yet. And I was kind of confused because for a minute I thought that Mason was the one behind the text, because he didn't say anything and he admitted to having both Lily and Lo's number. But that whole thing was kind of confusing because he never said anything, but it was never really confirmed or denied. Like, he kind of just was quiet about it. I don't know. And to quote the iconic scene, the iconic Lauryn Hale, "You touch her, you even think about her, and I'll have you in the ground before you can say, 'Thank you, Lauryn Hale.' You go to the media, the press, and I will ruin you, starting with your soccer career. You don't even know who I am." Like, moment of silence for Lauryn Hale. That being said, after that, Lo calls Reich, and he is basically, he wants to drink, because after that very heightened crazy exchange, he is just, you know, he wants alcohol. That's always been his coping mechanism. And so he calls Reich and he's like, "Tell me why I shouldn't." And you know, Reich is giving him reasons not to. He says that you won't feel good in the morning, and I was like, that's not good enough. And then he's like, "You'll throw up, you're taking this medication that will make you throw up if you drink." And I was like, I mean, that's true, but still not good enough. And then he says, "Because you love Lily more than that." And that was enough. They get home, and when Lo is talking to Reich, Lily is just freaking out. She's like assuming that Lo is going to leave, that like this is all too much for him. And so when she sees him, she kind of expresses that to him. She's like, "I don't know how to live without you." And he says, "You'll never have to find out, Lil." And then she says, "What if everyone says we shouldn't be together? That is not right." And then Lo says, "No, if the whole world says living without each other is what we should do, then this will be the last wrong I make." Like, I was on the verge of tears. Like, that is the sweetest. Like, they love each other so much, and they are both so troubled and broken, but they love each other so much, and it's so beautiful. Also, I read a little further, and Lily and Lo went to therapy together, and they said that they don't know who is sending the text. Like, they're saying that they're not telling the therapist about it. So I guess it wasn't Mason. I don't know. I'm kind of confused about all that, but it could be the mom. I'm not giving up on this theory. Okay, it is Friday night. I'm staying in and reading, but I just got to chapter 2, which is page 200, and I thought I would talk about what's happened so far. Lo went to go see his dad, and he had some favors from him, and his dad is just infuriating, truly. Like, when Lo gets there, his dad is for some reason just so bitter about him going to rehab, and he says, oh, you can't even have a drink with me now. Like, no, he can't. He got his life together. Like, let him be. He also told him that rehab was just a waste of his time and that he's just going to end up drinking again. And it stinks that Lo has such a terrible support system at home, at least, that he doesn't have any family that is rooting for him or encouraging him. Like, he literally just has Lily, and now luckily he has Reich, who is basically his only family. And even Rose, Lo tells him about the situation and tells him Lily's secret and everything, and blah blah blah. His dad says some infuriating things, but then eventually he agrees to help because he says that it would look really bad for Fizzle, and it would also make Hale Co. suffer too. So he agrees to find the person doing this. That's where I left off. I'm on part 2. I am going to continue reading, and I will let you know when I get to something exciting. I look like an actual gremlin, but it's fine. I'm on page 264. That's chapter 29. We are headed to my parents' house today, and so I didn't want to get too far without doing any updates. Lily, Lo, Rose, Connor, and Reich are going to Cancun. Reich brought his like situationship type girl. Her name is Melissa. She sucks. There was an issue with the room that they had booked. So they had booked a room that had like 3 separate rooms that each couple was going to stay in, and they double booked it. So they end up having to stay in a room that can fit 6 people, but it's 2 beds in, I think, 1 room, and then like a sofa pull out, which ends up being just a sofa, and then a little like roll-in cot. This is an issue because they all thought they were gonna have their separate rooms, and so they are kind of worried that will be an issue for Lily, but she doesn't want to be a burden, so she's like, no, it's fine, this is fine, everything's fine, even though deep down it's not fine. And then on the trend of Lily not being able to catch a break, she gives money to this bellhop who offers to look after their luggage. So she is like, yeah, sure, gives him the money, and he steals their luggage. So not only do they not have their room, they don't have their luggage. And Rose is so upset that she doesn't have her clothes and her products that she uses, and I completely agree. Like, I am so attached to my stuff, so I really felt her there, but she doesn't say anything. Daisy shows up, which was really unexpected. I was actually wondering if we were going to see her much in this book, but she shows up on spring break. She says that it's Rose's last spring break in college, and so she wants to go and experience it. In the last book, I did have some issues with the flirtation that Reich and Daisy had, because she's 16 years old. Like, I don't care what their age difference is, not appropriate, and that's kind of continuing in this book as well. Lily has definitely noticed, and at first Lo doesn't really notice, but eventually he starts to kind of catch on to it. Just because Daisy is young doesn't mean that she's taking Melissa's nonsense, which I really like, because Melissa just kind of sucks. Like, she's invited on this trip. They take the Callaway's dad's private jet, and she's just acting like a complete brat. She's like annoyed with the sleeping situation, and she thinks because she is getting to go to the Olympics and that she could pay for the stuff that she shouldn't act grateful, and that's just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But there's a part on page 237 where Melissa is asking anybody if they want a refill, and Daisy says that she would take a daiquiri. And so Melissa says, a virgin, right? And Daisy says, no, I'm drinking rum. And Melissa says, I don't really condone underage drinking. You're what, 17? Which, like, she's not wrong, but also just stop. 16, Daisy says, in some countries, I'm old enough to be married and sold into prostitution. So hey, I think a couple of drinks won't necessarily kill me. And then Melissa says, well, life is different here. We're in America. And Daisy goes, we're in Mexico, actually. And I don't know. I thought that was really funny. I like that Daisy can really hold her own, and I appreciate that about her a lot.
Ariana, what are you doing here?
The scene with Lily and Lo where he's like testing her to see like what she can handle, and then they're talking about the snapping turtles and the day that they're going to have and everything. I thought that was really sweet. It's really uplifting to see them have one good day where their addictions weren't in the way of them enjoying the day and their vacation. There's also a day where Reich and Lo go on a run with Melissa and Daisy, and things get very tense. So Lo is really starting to notice how Reich and Daisy are just too flirty for comfort. Lo is like, she is 16 years old, and rightfully so. Like, that's what I have been thinking this entire time. Like, I don't care what the situation is, she's 16. And Reich keeps saying that he's not doing anything and that he's just very blunt and that's his personality. And he explains that like how he grew up, like he kind of starts going into his family drama, which at first I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? But he's just explaining that he sees a lot of how he is in Daisy and how she's trying to appease everyone, and he just gets very angry for her. Like, she thinks that she does a lot for their mom, like just trying to make their mom happy, and that really irritates Reich. Reich and Lo agree to separate with the girl, so Lo takes Daisy upstairs, and then Connor, Rose, and Lily just got back from their day of shopping, and Lo sees Lily sitting outside by herself, so he's going to go out there, and Connor kind of pulls him aside and explains that they had like a little incident at the store. He tells Lo about that, and it is just so heartbreaking reading anytime something happens. Like, I just feel so heavily for Lily because she is trying so hard, and it is such a struggle for her. And I think even though everyone is being very compassionate towards her, I still think that it's just kind of a hard addiction to understand. And then hearing how Lo just wishes he would have been there for her, and how much he's breaking for her, and he wants to be there for her, but he also wants to give her the space to where she can, you know, overcome this herself at the same time. It's so conflicting for him, and it's conflicting as a reader. Like, you just want the best for all of them. But I do love that Rose and Connor are there for them. They are such an amazing support for the both of them, because even though Rose and Lo have their moments, I think that they both just want what's best for Lily and Lo. I stopped when Lo was about to go out there, but like I said, we're about to go to my parents' house. I'm going to bring my book along, probably read a little bit, probably not a ton, but last night I did fall asleep before I got too far. I would love to get to page like 400 tonight. I think that could be like a solid goal, but it just kind of depends how much reading I can get done. Okay, don't mind the moving boxes behind me, but I am on part 3. I didn't make it to page 400, but I thought it was kind of silly to keep reading when I made it to the end of part 2. So I thought I would wrap up my feelings on that because a lot has happened. So after the whole thing with Lily happened at the shopping trip, Lo goes out on the patio to make sure that she's okay, and they talk about what happened. She is just so embarrassed about it, and I mean, kind of rightfully so, but it's just really sad to see her in so much pain about something that she is having a very hard time controlling. He ends up kissing her, and she knows that it is just for comfort and nothing more, and that's something that she keeps telling herself. And then there's a part where he says, "Is this your new superpower, Lily Calloway? I can touch you now without feeling guilty." And she says, "It may not last forever." And then he says, "Then I'll enjoy it now." And then Lily's like inner monologue says, "For now." I like that too. They also talk about Reich and Daisy and how they are both so uncomfortable with the things going on, and how Lily thought it was just her who thought it, and then Lo has had his issues, and I'm glad that they're bringing it up because it is Reich's responsibility as the older one to not, you know, play into the flirtations of his 16-year-old. And they keep mentioning that she doesn't look 16, which, like, is fine. I know she's a model, like, whatever, but that doesn't excuse the fact that she's still 16. She has the brain of a 16-year-old. She might be mature for her age, but she's still 16. Like, that doesn't excuse anything. They all go out to dinner at this Mexican restaurant, and that's where everything kind of hits the fan. The advice that Reich had given Daisy comes out at her 16th birthday, and everyone is kind of appalled by it, as they should be. Melissa slaps Reich, which I don't like Melissa, but like, good for her. Reich explains that he gave that advice to Daisy to help Lily because her friends were putting her in a really uncomfortable situation with the questions that they were asking. And I don't really know if I completely believe that. Like, yes, I don't know. I don't like their dynamic. I just wish they didn't make her 16 in this book. And I saw a TikTok the other day that said that, so Kristen Becker Ritchie, I guess, have a podcast that you can pay for on Patreon. And I don't, but I heard that they addressed the Daisy Reich thing, and they said that if they had known that the books would have carried on so long, that they never would have made that a thing. Like, they never, I don't know, maybe they would have aged her up, or I don't really know exactly because I didn't hear it. It was just someone kind of summarizing what they said. But yeah, I wish they just made her 18 and then everything would have been fine. Like, they still could have been protective of her because she was the youngest one and like naive or whatever, but it wouldn't have been like illegal in this uncomfortable thing. So they all leave the restaurant because obviously this just happened. So they can't really sit and enjoy dinner anymore. And they get all of the stuff to go. Lily gives Lo his meal and he starts eating it in the cab. And he got fish tacos and he didn't realize that they were battered with tequila and beer. And so he starts puking like on the side of the road, and everyone is just like, oh my gosh, he drank. Like, the medicine he takes causes him to puke if he drinks. Like, obviously he drank something, and Reich is just yelling at him, and Lo is just throwing up. Like, he can't defend himself or explain or anything. And it was really sad to see everyone just immediately like go to like, you messed up. And like, I understand their point in doing that, but it just sucks for Lo that he has been doing so good and has been sticking to his promises, and then like this mess up happened. And eventually it like comes out that it was the tacos. Like, Rose calls the restaurant and everything, and Reich apologizes, but I think this is like the first time in this book that we really see how much Lo is still struggling with his sobriety. Like, this book has focused a lot on Lily's struggles because she isn't going to rehab. Like, she is trying to figure things out through therapy and with the help of her friends and Lo. And since Lo went to rehab, it's just, I don't know, it kind of feels more like he has it more together, but I like that they still showed how much he is struggling and how much Reich has been there for him, because Lo is just so frustrated with the whole thing. Like, he's irritated that he has to take a pill that will make him sick if he drinks, or like that he can't just do it on his own. And it's interesting because Lily says in something that she's like, well, if I had a pill that would fix all of my issues, like, I would take it. Like, if I got sick every time I had a feeling to watch something or do something, like, I would take it. And it's just interesting seeing how like Lily is kind of envious of Lo in that aspect. Like, maybe not envious, but I don't know, it's just interesting seeing how they're both struggling with their addictions and getting over them in different ways. I don't know if any of that made sense, but it was just, I like that they still show that Lo is still struggling even though he has completed rehab, and that the pill is not like a end all be all. Like, he's irritated with everything. So Poppy calls and lets Rose and Lily know that a package was sent to their parents' house addressed to Lily, and it is, you know, it has like X's all over it. Like, you know that it is just something in inappropriate. And it's from the person that had been sending the messages to Lily and Lo, and they know that she is in Cancun, but they're sending it to her parents, so they obviously want them to know, they want her parents to know that, you know, she might be ordering this for herself, or Lo might be ordering it. And I think that I'm wrong about the mom, because like there's just too many things that are like happening that I don't see why the mom would do it. Like I don't really think her mom wants to ruin her life that bad. I think they just have a bad relationship. So if it is, their mom's evil, but like I'm kind of to the point where I'm like, maybe I was a little wrong there. Lo calls his dad to talk about it, and his dad just has such a strange way of showing him that he cares about him. Like he says these rude things all the time, and like, but then he'll end it with, well, like I'm gonna be the one that's there for you when everything goes wrong. So he's like basically saying that if the Calloways do cut Lily off, like he wouldn't leave them to rot basically. But it's just kind of funny how he goes about it. Like he will insult Lo and tell him like horrible things, and he's like, well, obviously I'm not gonna let you just like suffer or be homeless or whatever. And you're like, what is your deal? Like he's such a confusing one. They are coming back from Cancun, and this is where everything just like completely turns into a mess. So Connor calls Lo into the back of the plane to talk, and they're all serious, and Lily is trying to go back there, and Connor's like, no, like let us just handle this. And so Lily's flipping around on the TV, and she sees a news station with her name on it, and they're talking about how basically her addiction was outed, and they're talking to that Mason guy that they saw in the parking garage, and he was talking about the incident with a soccer team and all of that. And Lily is just freaking out, and I feel so terrible for her. And like Daisy finds out like in front of her, and Daisy finds out that all of the people there already knew, like Reich, Rose, Connor, they all knew about Lily's addiction, and she is just like kind of like, she doesn't know what to think about it. Melissa's still there, like she's just kind of being, I don't know why she's there. She needs to leave because like they're dealing with issues. So Rose is hungover from the night before because they have this crazy night out, so she like is not aware that it's happening yet. And so Daisy gets a call from their mom to talk about it, and like it's just such a mess. Like everybody's trying to call at the same time. Like it is so chaotic. Lily's freaking out. She is just having like a panic attack, and Lo's trying to calm her down, and Lily is saying like these awful things about herself, that she's like, I'm putting everybody in pain, and like everything's ruined. Like she had such a good spring break, like neither her nor Lo like broke their pact basically. Like he didn't drink, she like it's so frustrating. They were gonna come home, they were gonna have a great night, and then like this has to happen. Lily's like, I owe them because they've given her so much. And then Reich says, for tarnishing the Fizzle name, for bringing you up with cash and luxury, you and Lo have it so warped. You think you're indebted to your parents because they gave you everything you have, but they didn't give you what effing mattered. They owe you. They owe you for not asking why their daughter isn't home, why she looks distant and sad, why she has barricaded herself in an effing apartment with her boyfriend. They have failed you. And if they tell you to get on an effing plane or go to rehab, where we all know you shouldn't be, then you need to tell them to go to hell. And if you don't, Lo and I will. I promise you that. And I think that's the first time we've seen Reich get really defensive for Lily and really stick up for her and really let her know that it is not completely her fault. Like she's doing what she needs to do for her, and her parents aren't there for her emotionally. Like they have no idea what's going on. Like I know that she distances herself, but like they had no idea, and they didn't think to ask her, get her in therapy or anything like that when she started really distancing herself. And so the fact that they can just say what they think is best for her when the people around her know or think they know what's best for her, like kudos to Reich. I really enjoyed that he stood up for her. That was really sweet to see. I am on part 3. I don't actually know how many parts there are. Is this it? Let's see if I can skip and see. I think this might be, yeah, I think this might be the last part. So I am excited to continue. Oh, it's so good. This book is so incredible. I love it so much. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I was so convinced it was the mom, and now I feel kind of goofy thinking that. I guess we'll see who it is. Maybe it's a character we haven't met yet, or like, if it was Lauren's dad, like that'd be really strange. I don't get what their motives would be, but I keep expecting it to be some crazy family thing. And I don't think it would be the therapist, because like, I don't know how that would be beneficial to the story to like make the therapist evil, but they're the ones who know all the stuff. So I don't know. I don't really know who Lo has made so mad that they want to get back at Lily. We don't know. So I have a pretty busy day today. Mark and I are visiting his grandma about like an hour away, and we just have some like errands to run, but I am gonna bring my book just in case we do get like some spare time to read, or might read in the car. Yeah, I think I might do that, but I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm absolutely loving the book. Like, this is the easiest 5-star book so far. Like, I couldn't see it going wrong. Or people say that the first 3 books are boring, and like, how is this boring? Like, I loved the other ones too, but like, how do you read this and say this is boring? Like, I think that is absolutely crazy. It is currently Monday, and I am still at home because we had a surprise snow day today, and we got a sudden ice storm that I don't really think anyone was expecting. They didn't call school off until like 5:30 this morning. So that was exciting. I'm hoping to finish Addicted for now today because I have all of this unexpected reading time. I did start editing, and I completely forgot that before I had all of these like nonsense theories about Lily's mom, like I was convinced it was someone in the family that shared the news, and I guess I don't know that they aren't, but I forgot about Sebastian. Like, I was editing the first clip and I was like, oh, that seems like the obvious choice, but apparently not for me, because I completely forgot about it, and I've been on this crazy theory that it's the family. Like, I don't know. I really don't think it's the mom now, because she did not react well. When the news came out, they went to Lily's parents' house to talk about everything, and there were so many cameras there, and Lily just couldn't do it, and so they went to Connor's place, and they kind of hid there for like a week. They gave Lily like 7 days where she could kind of figure out how she wanted to go about things. She eventually does go to her parents' house, and things do not go well. Lily is trying to talk to her mom, and her mom is just like not giving her the time of day. She's like yelling for her mom, and her mom's just ignoring her. So eventually her mom turns around, and Lily is just like repeating like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And her mom says, you can be sorry all you want. It won't repair the damage you have done to this family. You have everything a girl could ever want. And then she says something that's just like very rude, and like, I'm not gonna read it, you know, on my channel. We're gonna try to keep it clean, but it's just something that like a mom should not tell her daughter. Like, it's just so rude. And then she ends it with, I didn't raise you to be so disgusting. And then she looks at Lo and says, you could do better. Excuse me? I thought that her mom was behind it because she wanted better for Lily, which I guess I kind of forgot about the ties of like the family. Like, they kind of go into that where Lily's kind of been ignored her whole life because Rose has always been good at school, and Daisy has been so beautiful and has been in modeling, and Lily didn't really have anything. And so her mom looked at it like she doesn't have anything better to offer than being with a guy. And so that's what she had her focus on. Like, that's why in high school Lily was allowed to stay at Lo's house like every day of the week, because like her parents just didn't really care. They didn't think she had any potential, which is so sad. And it definitely, you know, makes sense why she has these issues that she does now, because she just hasn't had any love from her family, and she's always looked for that love and acceptance from other people. I don't know. I was so furious when I read that, like, her mom's reaction, and I realized that, you know, her mom would not have done this just to, like, spite her. Like, obviously her mom does have issues, but I'm definitely suspicious of Sebastian again because I completely forgot about him. And honestly, like, if that's who did it, like, good on Krista and Becca Ritchie for making it so obvious in the beginning and then making me completely forget about it now. If it's not, like, that's fine, but I don't know, I'm like going crazy. Can you tell? There were also some sweet parts. I'm going back through my tabs. There were some really sweet parts, like when they go to Connor's house, and Lo is basically trying to give Connor an out. He's like, you are not really part of this family. Like, if you don't want to be mixed up in this, if you don't want your family's name mixed up in this, like, now's your chance. And he says, Rose already showed me where the door is. I'm fairly capable of knowing when and how to walk out of it. And then he talks with Lo a little bit. And then Connor says, like I said, Lo, I know how to use the door. And Reich looks at Lo and says, you gonna give me an out too? And then Lo says, no, if I'm going down, you're burning with me. Does that qualify as a brotherly obligation? For me, yeah. And I just thought that was a funny moment. When they got to Connor's, I kind of forgot, I read this last night, I kind of forgot how emotional it really was when Lo is like talking about how he feels like he is to blame for Lily's addiction, because when she was there, like, he was so wrapped up in his addiction that he didn't stop her, or he basically like kind of let her do her own thing as long as she let him do his own thing. And that was just, for them at the time, very comforting, but also just very toxic. I'm going to keep reading because I'm very curious how this conversation with Lily's parents is going to go. Wright kind of taught her to tell them, like, if they say that you need to go to rehab or you need to, like, go move away somewhere, you have a therapist here, you have support here. Like, you do not need to go somewhere else where, like, you're gonna be in a group with people you're uncomfortable with, or like having to open up to a new therapist when, like, you are starting to get it together. Like, so what are you gonna tell your parents? And he basically is like, teaches her to just say, like, go to hell. Like, just tell them that that is what you're going to do. And then when she actually sees her parents, she's like, it's my fault. Like, I have brought so much shame and embarrassment on my family. And yeah, so it's currently a mess right now. And I'm curious how it's all gonna play out, because at this current moment, she is like, I know I told Reich that I would stand up for myself, but like, I did this, like, and they're right. Like, now Daisy's name's being brought up in tabloids of like, oh, her sister could be like the next one with issues or whatever. And it's just, it's a lot. I want to know who started this mess and why they have to get engaged. So Lo's dad is like going over the things that Lily's parents are expecting from her. So like, her trust fund is being taken away if she doesn't meet these requirements, basically. And he says, congratulations, you are now engaged and the wedding will be in a year. My joint, and this is from Lily's point of view, my joints don't work properly, even though all my thoughts scream violently for me to take the ring. It's a small price to pay for what I've done, but to turn what Lo and I have into bait for the media, cheapening our love, hurts beyond words. More I can't, I'm like too like flustered. More tears pool. Lo says, squeezing my hand, we can find another way. We can't. This is what they want, and we've been selfish long enough. I shake my head, grab the box, and pluck out the ring that glitters. It's larger and more extravagant than anything I've ever wanted. I take a small breath and slide it onto my finger. It fits perfectly. I can't stop staring at the way it sparkles and dwarfs my small hand. It's gaudy and feels cold and wrong. I'm sorry, I tell Lo. He's fixated on the piece of jewelry as much as me, and I already know what he's thinking. This isn't what he imagined for us either. A proposal by his father in his office. Maybe we're just not meant to have a happy ending. Maybe we don't deserve it. No, that's so sad. Serve happiness. I'm so distraught. I was not expecting that to be, like, I was expecting her to have to like go away or something, and then he's like, no, that's like running away from your problems. Like, getting engaged, oh my gosh. I can't 2 weeks or 1 year. It doesn't make a difference to me, Lil. I'd marry you tomorrow if it'd make you happy. Stop, that's so sweet. Lo's dad ruined that sweet moment so quick by saying it actually can't be less than a year, but it was still so cute. Sebastian was over helping Lily with her final. Her teacher had her taking it home versus taking it in the classroom because she was too big of a distraction with everything going on, which I feel like just wouldn't happen in real life. Like, that's really unfair to let people take a final home. Like, I don't know, that would be a very unfair advantage, but that's what they decide to do. So she is there basically like copying the stuff. Connor comes home and like this whole big spat happens with them, and Rose gets involved, and basically she tells Sebastian to leave. But that also means like Connor found out that Lily had been cheating, and so then he agrees to kind of help her on the exam, and she finished it up herself, which was really great. Lily and Lo are also in a bit of a spat. They're having a fight, which stinks. I don't know if you'd really call it a relapse, I guess kind of. Lo was just really disappointed. Lo was researching like business things that he can do, since that was like something his dad said he needed to do, was find something to do, like come up with a business. He said he doesn't even care if it flops, just do something. And so Lily asks him if he wants to break up with her, and she was saying we've never fought for so long, and she can't tell what he's thinking anymore. And he says, don't ever ask me that again. And she says, I wouldn't blame you. I mean, I would try to stop you, but I would understand. And he is explaining to her that like he had rehab and that her addiction is so much different than his. He says, I knew I'd be strong and you'd be struggling. It's just the way it is. I'm prepared for this. I won't leave. I won't ever leave. And that was so sweet. I love that. But then he told her like that's not an excuse to fall into old habits. Like, he's still holding her accountable, which is really great. This therapist that Lily's parents are making her see is absolutely insane. Like, she had such a good relationship with her previous therapist, and I don't know why they feel the need to change who she's seeing, but she's going to this guy to appease her parents, and he is like making her look at images and like describe things to him and shocking her, and he calls her all of these like derogatory names, and it is so hard to read. Like, it was a short chapter, but I hated reading what he's having her do. And like Lo hates it too. Like, he goes with her and basically spends the entire drive home like building her up after that. But like, it's awful. And I feel like they kind of keep trying to make her dad seem better by saying like he didn't want to take the trust fund away. That was mainly her mom, and like he still calls every day after the luncheon, but like he's still putting her through this. Like, stick up for your daughter if you don't think it's right. I don't know. Her parents, like, they keep making the dad seem like he's the better one, and he might be better than the mom because the mom's awful, but like both are just not good. So I guess Lo's dad found out who the leak was. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but he found that out when he was on the way to go hiking with Reich. And yeah, Reich and him have like a brotherly moment. So Reich is basically like, it just hurts to see Lo want that relationship with his dad and basically like think that he can have it when his dad is so like verbally abusive to him. And there was this really sweet part where Lo was like, I'm not asking you to come with me. I can drop you off at your house. And Reich asks him, if he goes, do you think he'll lay off of you? And Lo says, is that even a question? And so Reich says that he'll go. Lo says, are you sure he would do that? He'd go stomach a whole hour or two with our father just so the verbal assaults are redirected his way. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know what I'm feeling. My lungs seem to lift from my chest, and I know what word I want to say. I know what word, and I can't. Thank you. in this moment, I truly feel like I have a brother, one that's probably too good for me. That was a really sweet moment. I love seeing moments between Reich and Lo because they have such like a complicated relationship right now. Reich and Lo go to their dad's house to find out who this leak is, and he's being his annoying self, like telling them that he wants to have lunch with them, and so they're sitting and eating with him, and he tells Lo that like the marriage is really helping fizzle, but something that would really help Haleco is for them to have a kid. And Lo was like, absolutely not, like I don't even want kids, because he doesn't want them to turn out like him or like have the relationship that he has with his dad. And so that starts a thing, and then his dad lets them know that he's not even going to tell them who the leak is, that he's taking care of it, and he doesn't want Lo to make it a bigger mess than it is, which makes me think that it is someone, like I still think it's the mom. Like I don't know. Is that even too obvious? Like I don't know. But like that would make complete sense. Like if he paid all this money and then found out that it was like a Calloway, he wouldn't want to ruin that relationship with them. And so he would be handling it himself. Like there's a reason he doesn't want Lo involved. And that's how that chapter ended, was Lo was saying like, is he protecting me or is he protecting himself? Like one of their drivers or something, like someone that's involved with the family. Like would he have that much to lose? I don't know. I'm very skeptical, but like if Lo's dad is trying to protect him, it makes me think that it's not someone like Sebastian, because then why would his dad care? Lo starting a comic book publishing company is so perfect. Like I love that. I could not have thought of anything more perfect for Lo to start up. And I love that his dad didn't like judge him for it. He just wrote the check and was like, you're good to go. And Lily says, what he did was buy me something of my own, something I could look forward to after college. He found me happiness, and I think it's worth more than any silly engagement ring. A store that sells coffee, scones, and comic books. It's perfect. It's so perfect for them. Like they're gonna own their little comic book place. Lo went to see his mom and it was awful. She wanted nothing to do with him. He is married, assuming, and has kids of her own now and has just really moved on. She told Lo that she had initially not wanted to have him, that she had plans for her life and becoming a mom was not one of them, especially with like a one night stand like his dad. Lo found out that his dad basically didn't want her to go through with that, so he said that if she had him, that basically he would raise Lo, and so that's what happened. And Lo was like, I just wish you would have gone through with it, because like Lily wouldn't have spent her childhood in his broken home, and her mom would have loved her as much as she did. Her sisters and Reich would have grown up with two parents instead of one, and it's just really heartbreaking that none of their mistakes like have to do with him, but he just takes the responsibility. Lo is too good for this for this world. I can't. He was dealt such a crappy hand, and I hate it for him. So while Lo was in Maine, Lily had to go to her therapy appointment by herself, and that was a very hard scene to read. I was not expecting that. I'll just say, like, major trigger warning for chapter 57. He is awful, and I'm just thankful that her bodyguard Garth was there. Yeah, I was not expecting that to be so emotional. Like, I was like panicked while reading it. Yeah, I'm glad she's okay. She asked Garth if they could make a stop before going home, and she went to go see her original therapist, and she made a great point when like when Rose and Connor were talking about like all of the things that they had to go through to find her therapist Allison. Like she's like, maybe Rose had to deal with people like him. I hope no one has to go through anything like that. But I'm thankful that she stood up for herself and she was like, there's only so much I can do for my parents. Like I can't go through this anymore. And luckily Garth saw it and he said that you'll be hearing from her dad's lawyers. So I mean, she at least has someone who's like backing her up and it's not just her trying to get out of it. I can't with this book. Let me call Flo. Because he was supposed to call her and she was like, are you coming home? He's like, yeah, I'm on my way, and she doesn't believe him, and he asks why she loves him, and it's so sweet. I won't read the whole thing, but then she says, whatever Emily said, I need you to know that I'm not going anywhere. I'll always be here when you come home. There will always be an us, a Lily and Lo. I'm so emotional. It is too late. Like it is late at night now and I need to go to bed. But I can't. Oh my gosh. It wasn't Lily's mom. I was correct that I was being crazy and just not trusting her. But it was Reich's mom. Oh my gosh. And she found out because she went through Reich's texts and she, oh my gosh, she did it to get back at Lo's dad because they had like a deal that he couldn't say that she cheated or that he cheated on her, and she wanted that news out while still being able to keep his money. So she was hoping that when they started digging up dirt on the whole family that the news would come out. That is awful. And Reich is so angry. Like he's not taking his mom's side at all. He's like, you've made me choose between my dad and you my entire life, and that is insane. I mean, I don't know why I would have ever like suspected her, but that's just like crazy. She never even like went through my head as a suspect. Reich is like so frustrated, and like he kind of has a reason because his mom basically ruined Lily and her family and just everything, and Lo hugs him and is saying that it's not his fault. And Lily points out that like many months ago the roles were reversed. Lo would never have been strong enough to be a support for someone else. And Lo says, listen to me, meeting you was the best thing that's ever happened to us. I'm sober and Lily is in recovery. None of that would have been possible if it wasn't for you. You're the reason I'm with the girl I love. You're my brother, so don't you ever feel guilty for what's happened now. That's not on you. And then Reich says, our parents spent so much time hating each other that they didn't even realize what they were doing to us. That's so sad, but I love that they had that moment and that they're really coming together and bonding, because they just haven't had that. Like their parents have been so self-absorbed and like wanting revenge on each other and trying to like have them pick sides, and like in a weird like messed up way it's brought them together, which sucks for them, but it's also so sweet that they have been able to find each other in all of this. And I don't even think I realized this. I flipped to the next chapter and Lo says it, but like how his father wouldn't say who the leak was when they were both there. And it says, my father didn't tell me that Sarah Hale was the leak to protect himself or me. He was protecting Reich. I completely forgot like Reich was there. Like obviously his dad can't be like, it was your mom. Like that would not end well. So his dad sucks, but he also has his moments. So he's a very conflicting character. He apologized to Aaron, and that's the guy that had kind of caused Lily all of that grief. So Lo gave him 2 envelopes and he said, you told me you couldn't get a job and compete with Ivy grads. That should help start your career. Greg Calloway and my father wrote references for you. Basically, he's like, I don't want your charity, but then Lo's like, you can burn it for all I care, it's just right. And they both say sorry. And then as Lo's walking out, he says, I set my sights on Lily again. She is my past, my present, my future. So when I open the door and slide into the driver's seat, I'm not surprised that it feels like I'm returning home. Like, shut up. I'm about to start crying again. He proposed. I am not okay. The last line of this book is, she waits for me, just as I asked. You know, like in the first book, how he says to wait. I can't. It is past midnight now. We have another snow day tomorrow, so you know what? I will process this book in the morning. But it is 5 stars. Like, oh my god. Okay, it is the next day, and I think I have my thoughts together on Addicted for now. I was an emotional wreck last night. I just don't even know if I knew what to think about it. There were lots of thoughts happening, still lots of thoughts happening, but overall, I loved this book. Like, I think this was the easiest 5 stars in the series so far. Definitely my favorite. We just got to see so much more from the characters. I mean, this one is probably honestly the size of the first 2 combined. I tabbed the absolute heck out of it. I loved seeing Lo and Lily start to overcome their addictions and just really come together as a couple, and they were relying on each other in like the healthiest way that we had seen so far from them. We also got to see more brotherly interactions with Reich and Lo, and how Reich has really been there for him. I really loved that so much. And even when we found out that Reich's mom was the one who had leaked the information, Lo was there for Reich, and they had the sweetest moment together. And I mean, how selfish of his mom to still hold on to that grudge with Lo's dad and just try to get that information out. Like, she completely risked the relationship that she has with her son, and that's the only parent Reich really has. I mean, his entire life he's been pitted against his dad, and then his mom goes and does this. Like, it's just like, why would you do that? I couldn't believe that she was the one who leaked the information. As you all saw, I was so convinced it was like Lily's mom or like someone like that. I don't know, but I mean, it was a mom. I don't know. I loved seeing more of the characters. I am excited to go into Rose and Connor's book next. I'm not really sure what I'll think. I will be honest, I am so invested in Lo and Lily, and I love them dearly, and I'm sure we will still get to see them, but I'll be honest, I just adore them so much, and I'm sad that I have to wait. Is it like a book or 2? I think it might be 2 until I get back into their story. So I don't know. I'm nervous, but I'm excited because I also love Rose and Connor. I think that they are such wonderful people, and the way that they are there for Lily and Lo is just truly beautiful. I adore this book with my whole heart. I think that it was so perfect, and I said it before, but the perfect amount of, you know, serious, heartbreaking moments mixed with humor, mixed with just drama and mystery. Like, it had it all. I loved it so much. So definitely, I mean, it's only January, but definitely the best book I've read so far this year. I loved it so much, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. That being said, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more bookish content from me, more Addicted Calloway vlogs, don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!